It's so important to talk about it. This channel, I did this for awareness. I want the world to talk about it. I want people out there to understand what Cassandra syndrome is. And I think many of us do, because the reason we have Cassandra syndrome is because people don't believe our relationships are the way they are. So our lovely secret world, there's Pepper coming in. The reason I want to kind of dig in more to our secret world is that it is such a deep, dark secret that, again, I still don't have comments because so many of us cannot comment, and trying to figure out if we Cassandra sisters get a secret world together and talk. It's just like being on the Facebook groups. It's just like so many of the Facebook groups out there for women married to men with autism and comorbidities, and there's different groups. There's some for the men and women that work together to help their relationship. There's the groups where they're leaving their partner. There's nothing they can do. They've tried everything. The neurotypical partner, the non-autistic partner, has done everything. They need to go. There's also kind of a group where you just vent, expressing our deepest, darkest emotions, which is really important. It is so important to talk things through. It's so important to talk about it. And the thing with this channel, I did this for awareness. I want the world to talk about it. I want people out there to understand what Cassandra syndrome is. And I think many of us do, because the reason we have Cassandra syndrome is because people don't believe our relationships are the way they are. And so many times we get told that there's something wrong with us. And my gosh, we have our issues. Why did we get with these guys in the first place? There are so many reasons that I can't go into that part, because we all have different walks of life who are with these guys. Every single one of us. I have talked to hundreds of women. I've been doing this 7 years. I have 2 books going. One, I think it should be a series. I think it should be on Netflix. It should be told. What goes on inside of our homes should be talked about, embraced. We're supported. Our partner is supported. It's funny because when you have that imposter syndrome that I've had very often, or you just feel like there's doctors out there, there's people out there that can talk more eloquent than I, that can really have the words. I've talked to such amazing Cassandra sisters that can just explain it in a dime. Like, they're just spot on, and they say it so beautiful, and I think, man, I can't talk like that. But it doesn't matter, because if your passion is there, if you really want to go with where your heart is going. Did I say that right? See, my eloquent talk is not there. I can't just woo and be magical. But what I can do is speak from the heart, and I believe that I do. There is no easy solution to this. I have been lucky enough to be able to live separately with him, and he's helping me financially, and I help him with everything else, honestly. Does he recognize that? He really doesn't. He's really angry right now. But then he goes in waves. You know, he's helped me to buy a dog run. There are so many coyotes in Nevada. I didn't think about that. I have an enclosed yard, which I got the house because of that yard, and it's still not good enough. These coyotes jump over very tall walls. Anyway, back to the subject, where he's helping me out, but it's constantly this hurry up, let's get things going, that I feel that I have to spin my wheels to even get the dog run. It took a couple days to figure out the dog run when I could just get on Amazon. I have the measurements, let's go. But the processing time, the aspects of autism that are so difficult in relationships needs to be discussed more. And yes, we're in a window. Cassandra's sisters are in a window, and I will explain that later. We are in a time right now. Our men were diagnosed late. Most of them were. Most of them, not most, a lot are successful. Mine is very successful, runs a company, does well. The people in the outside world thinks he's great. They're intimidated by him. He is so smart, etc., about the high-powered businessman that he is. And yet there's that little slip-ups. I remember going to my first business parties I would go to, and I felt like so important because I was with this important guy. But anyway, people would come up to me and say, wow, how do you do it? How do you deal with him, you know? And I would laugh and say, oh yeah, he's just, you know. And then I've had employees come up to me and say, oh my gosh, I was so scared of him, and oh my God, and he's so nice, he's so great, and he turned out so great, and I didn't need to be afraid. There was one time, and this is where it gets kind of interesting with the whole narcissistic part of it that we talk about a lot in our guys, the traits. And I want to make that clear too, that the traits are traits. The actual diagnosis, I think, is less than what we think in our guys, but I'm not sure. And I don't think the great, powerful doctors out there don't know that much either. We're still working on that part. But there was a time when I was at one of those work parties and a employee came up and the man said, hey kids, the kids were there, it was kind of this big outing, hey, I want you to meet the best person to do the job. He was really giving so much kudos to my guy. And I was just looking at it, it's like, wow, that's really, you know, he wanted his kids to meet him, and wow, that's so cool. And we get through the party, we're driving home, and I said, wow, that was so cool how your employee wanted to tell his kids how great you are. And he said, what are you talking about? My guy, he didn't remember at all that happened. He didn't remember it. I thought, wow, it struck me. It really did. It's so baffling sometimes. And I really go back to, he missed the emotional side of it. There were two kids in awe to meet him, and the dad in awe, and then he just blanked all that out. Nothing good comes to him. How devastating is that? You know, does he not see his greatness? And is that why he's so angry all the time? Is it autism? Is it narcissism? It is a combination of something. And I hope if you can comment that you will tell me what you're going through. And if you're not a Cassandra sister, I hope that you listen, and I hope that you tell other people about this, because our families need to know this. I want to build a community of people who are not Cassandra sisters, that we get together and just talk about, hey, I didn't understand this, and hey, here's a good website to go to and a good YouTube channel to go to hear more, and to be able to support our family members that may have a husband or even a wife too, that could be different like this, that could have autism and you don't know it, that could have traits of narcissism and how to work around that. And there's so much buzzword on narcissism, and there's so much info on autism. And I kind of bring it together. It's something people don't want to talk about, and I know that's why I keep harping on comments, because it's been so hard. I would love to build community, but it takes time. And it takes trust, and I hope you can trust me to be someone you can come to and to talk about, someone you can ask questions. And if I don't know the answer, I can veer you to somebody that can. There's some great people that do talk about this, and they're still not as popular as they should be. So when you are in a household and you're with someone that doesn't seem to see you or know who you are, is the hardest thing. To be with someone in your house who you fell in love with, who you married, who you maybe had children with, who you've tried to build a foundation with, and maybe you thought it was working. Maybe you went 10, 20 years and your kids are gone, and now you're with this stranger that doesn't know you at all. And you really don't know them. You thought you knew them. Let's talk about being in a window, Cassandra syndrome window. And I got this idea or thought from Deborah Lawrence, who I need to have another video with. She's excellent. She said how Cassandra's sisters are in a kind of window because there is so much more diagnosis of autism out there for children and understanding of it that hopefully we die out. The whole Cassandra syndrome will soon die out because so many of our guys were diagnosed very late in life and developed narcissistic traits or comorbidity that makes it much more difficult. But I started to think about that a little bit, and I think our window is much bigger. I think that we really don't grasp the aspects of autism in a relationship that can make it really difficult until we live with them and until we really look at there are some people with autism that will never really grasp that outside world because autism is all about self. So what Deborah said about Cassandra window is the syndrome. It is a window. Hopefully it disappears in our lifetime. It may not. But the outside world may understand how autism can be really hard in a relationship. But still to totally grasp it, there's many women that may say, oh, okay, you were diagnosed with autism. All right, did you get the help you needed? Yes, you did. And still get into a relationship and still realize, wow, he really doesn't see me. And I don't know if I can do this. And I think where the window may really close is that we have that awareness how difficult it can be. Because we still want our autistic children to grow up and have a fulfilling life. And part of a fulfilling life, you need a partner. This life's hard. You need people. You need community. You need a family. You need a spouse. Maybe we're getting into that age. There's a lot of single people out there. And there's a lot of people that don't want to get married anymore. And we're kind of having this big shift in so much. Now we have AI, we have all this computer stuff. I am talking to a phone every day with very little comments. I'm by myself and it seems to be popular. It's wild to us Gen X and above, I think. I think we're kind of the last of the ones that are like, holy, what is going on with this world? So things are shifting and adapting in human beings. We can change better than any other creature out there. But we do need community. I can't imagine human beings ever being okay without each other. That's not a human. We would be something else. So the window needs to close on the Cassandra syndrome. There needs to be more awareness. And also the knowing that if you have a person that's been diagnosed with autism, that there's going to always be a bit of a disconnect due to the nature of autism. There's connection in other ways than emotional. My guy has shown that to me many times. Even just finally buying the dog run or helping me out financially with it. So the thing is there's a window. Us, Cassandra sisters, I feel for us. And I've said it before where many of us feel like our lives are ruined, like how different our lives could have been. And it is a rabbit hole you really don't want to stay in very long and go down very far. Because there's always tomorrow. There's always you who has the awareness enough to know what's going on. And when you call your friend and you call your Cassandra sister and you talk about it and you vent about it, that's healthy and wonderful, and keep doing it. And know that if she's a Cassandra sister, you can talk as long as you want. I'm telling you not to feel bad about that. Not to feel bad if sometimes you're just like, poor me, this sucks, da 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 da, etc. If you want to do that, do it, because we need to get that part out. We need to say, I am a human being, and this is really hard. And I don't know if you got chills. I just said that. I just got chills when I said I'm a human being. That's funny. The secret world. What is secret? Is that we are really in this alone in our house with our man, and that there's support out there, but you have to make the decision. You have to decide what you're doing with your life and how to make things as best as possible. I get terrified when I think about starting over at 55. And I can only imagine if you're starting over and you have children, how hard that could be and is. When I think of myself, and I realized the other day there's codependency there. I'm here by myself and I want to go back to daddy and him to take care of me. It's safe over there in my dungeon with him. If you're just listening, I was living in the basement. I could not live with him upstairs anymore. So it's weird, it dawned on me, like, I went to this tailspin when a guy didn't believe me when I told him my toilet smells. The property manager's difficult. And I just remember like wanting to go back home to misery. Codependent, we all hate that word. But there are so many different aspects that we're not just one thing. And I think in a relationship like this too, where you're depending on them, they're depending on you, that is part of a relationship. You should be able to both have each other's back. But in order to live and survive without them, you have to really look at that and look at why you're staying, why you keep putting up with being discarded, being just put to the side, not being yourself, having to be like them. All of that happens with Cassandra syndrome. And to sit down, write out the pros and cons maybe. Sit down and journal like they always say to do. The mean property manager, I am going to be okay with that. I am not going to run back to daddy because this guy made me upset. And it's humbling to say this. I believe more of us are like me than I think. And this is the first time I'm saying that I'm afraid to be on my own. I always thought that I was. I always blamed it on, I don't know, my mom babied me, or, I never had children, so I could never grow up. Never had anybody needing me, so I couldn't just be an adult, start adulting more. And I think it's part of being a woman. There's a thing with women where we are supposed to be the people pleasers and not really respected like we should be. And I know there's a lot of tumultuous thought on that right now. I think we should still keep fighting for our health, for women's health, women's voice. Being a Cassandra sister hits women more. Having chronic illness like fibromyalgia that's not being studied enough hits women more. So that's my soapbox. But our secret world is very, very harsh sometimes. And to where we can't leave comments and we have to feel like we have to pretend everything's okay. I never did it. From day one, why is this guy so weird? I was telling everybody. And I'm still telling everybody. But I'm also respectful of him. I really try to be that way. I know that he can't help it with the autism. And I know that the narcissistic stuff cannot be excused because of the autism. So that's why I'm taking care of myself. It is a slippery slope sometimes, but we have to put on those sticky shoes and keep going up that slippery slope and get to the top and hold on. And if things come your way and you're triggered, to just keep going. Just call a friend, have that support system. You gotta have that before you branch out. Therapist, one that understands autism. It's hard to find, expensive. I got lucky, it's on my medical plan. We gotta make our world less secret. It's understandable that we don't wanna make waves to leave. We have to do things right. We have to listen to the experts that understand how to leave a situation. And we also have to know if we stay, what we're in for and what it's really gonna be like, and know that I will never have that loving partner. If I keep staying with him, I will never have that person that really has my back for my emotional stability, my, just keeping regulated. I don't have that person to say, hey, I'm here, as a partner, but I have it in my friends, and I have the biggest support. There's so much support out there. But it's still so secret. Even some of the support I get still will look at me funny. Unless they're Cassandra's sister. I don't know, what do you think? Are we always gonna just be misunderstood because you have to live it? That's part of it. But the important people and facilities and organizations, they need the awareness to help us. So I will say goodbye to my phone. No, I'll say goodbye to you, Cassandra's sister, and hopefully someone who's just interested in hearing about this. My book says a lot. It is Lonely in Love. It's on Amazon. And if you found this helpful, and if you want to hear more things, and you want to see some crazy little puppies that I have, my 2 dogs, I need to bring like a little day bed in here for them to sit on so you can see them. They're now under my desk. All right. Take care of yourself. Like I always say, that's hard to do sometimes. Take care as best you can in this moment. See you in the next one.